Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of T-shirt driving. Today we're doing a little interior mod today. We are going to be installing the KT4 shifters. So these are to replace the paddle shifter but still use all the OEM hardware. As you can see, we have green to match green. Not really going to see it too much because it's going to be behind the steering wheel, but I thought it was a neat little touch. We do have 3D printed with aluminum shifters or paddles. Feels, pretty lightweight. We're gonna see how to take this off. You do have to remove the horn assembly. However, I'm gonna show you how to do it without having to disconnect your battery or disconnect your airbag. So let's go ahead and dive into that. So the first thing you're gonna wanna do is pull out this 15 amp fuse to disable the horn. So that way you're not having to deal with any issues of hitting the horn and it constantly going off. Put it someplace safe. I'm leaving it there with the needle nose. So as you can see, the steering wheel is pointed straight, but we need to actually turn it. So we're going to turn the engine on and we're going to rotate this because behind the steering wheel we have two holes, one on each side, that we're going to be getting, I call this my poker, but you want something pointy and durable because you're going to be prying at a clip to unhinge the steering wheel. So what you can see right here is the hole that I am referencing, and what we're going to do is we're getting our pick in here and you are prying to lift up the clip and disengage the horn, which I just did on this one. So we're gonna switch angles while I rotate so you guys can see from my perspective versus behind what's actually happening. Got it. Oh, you guys saw it. That's amazing. Well, that took me a good 15 minutes of playing around with. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm turning the wheel upside down actually. Gonna turn the car off. And the reason for that is it allows this mechanism, your horn assembly and your airbag, to be out of the way without having to disconnect any of the wires. So what we're going to do now is we're going to remove this metal trim. So you're going to need some nice strong fingers, and it may take you a couple attempts to pop these out of the clip. So I'm going to go ahead and give that a go right now. I find working my way from the bottom, opposite, top, up, but from what you can see, wide to narrow is the best solution. And also make sure there's nothing in your pockets because it makes sitting in the seat uncomfortable. So, as you can see, I'm just grabbing right here and I'm pushing not on the button, but here on the plastic trim. And that's starting to get these little clips out of their groove. Same thing here. You can see that starting to come right on out. My goal right now is to get this bottom one before I start working on the top. And if you need to move the horn a little bit, by all means, go right on ahead. Yeah, we're almost there. There's one, two. So these ones are out too. These ones are out. Now this, what I find is the tricky part because there's two here and two up here. And they really don't like to budge. Oh, got it. Okay. Like I said, strong fingers. We're now gonna do the same thing here with these guys, except for they kind of rotate out. So if you see, I'm starting on the outer edge, and I'm just gonna rotate them inward, and they pop right on out, if that's the case. Come on. There we go. I'll show you what we're gonna do there. So same thing, start on the outside, work my way inward. There we go. Now, we are gonna be disconnecting these guys. This is the direct connection to your paddle shifters. The other thing to note is you are going to need a Torx bit to access to remove these, and I'm gonna go grab that. I have it ready as well. All right, we are using a T20 Torx bit, and you're gonna slot that right on in the center hole here. There we are. And unscrew. They're not torqued in very hard, so remember that when you are reinstalling them. There we go. If they stay in there, that's okay. They do not need to come out. They won't get lost in there. It's like a tunnel. But if they come out, they come out. Now from there, the shifters, inside to outside, is how I do that. And then once you angle it, I push. So let me move this camera so you can see what So I pull from inside to outside. I'll move that down so you can see. And then I push inward. And then I just feed the cable right on through. And that is out. Also make sure your Torx bit is completely unscrewed, or it will be holding the paddle shifter in like this one. There we go. And then push in. Feed my connector. Right on through. The other thing to note, wheel is upside down. So positive is normally on the right, it is now on the left, upside down, and negative is on the right, upside down. Make sure they click, and that engagement is what you're going to be looking for when we go to install our new one. So we're going to start off with the negative. I'm going to put the positive on the door so I don't forget that that's on that side. This is where you're going to need some needle nose pliers. You've got this little pin in there, and we're going to slide that right on out with our needle nose. Boom, just like that. It is a little tougher the first time. This is the second time I've removed these. And we're going to angle it off just like that. So let's take a look at the difference here. And you can see we're gonna have much more room or area to grab and pull the paddle. We've got your 4 fins and your engagement button right here, which should allow that engagement to happen. So now we're going to go ahead and install the negative right onto here. So we're going to get that ready and positioned. There are these little hooks or L's that you're going to want to put in first, just like so. And then, not losing your pin, this also works a lot better on a workbench. Oh, that went in nicely. That's the noise you want. I actually initially got, my first batch were black. If you follow my Instagram, I posted a photo of those, and they were not engaging. So with a contact out to KT4, they made a new design, slightly modified it, of course, and now it is fully engaging, whereas before it was just holding it. So that's great to see a company getting feedback from their customers and adjusting the product. No extra charge, no shipping charge. They took care of all that. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and install this one now. Oh, I like that. The green and the green, that's kind of cool. So again, you're going to feed your electrical right on through. And you're gonna do the exact reverse process. Make sure your negative is down below. Same thing with the positive, it's going to be down below. You don't want to be trying to install these upside down or backwards. I'm slightly moving over so I can see how to slide this in. I see my wire was tangled up on the little hook that it goes in, so sometimes you gotta pop your head back there. All right, so that is there. Now let's get this right on in. There it is, tightening up. Check. We have clicking. That's amazing. All right, we're gonna repeat the same step on the positive side. So we're gonna pull the pin nicely out, and you should feel it to be very nice and loose like that to come right on out. Now, same process. We're gonna put our L hooks right on in first, slide it down, get our pin, and slide it through. And as you can see, if I can do this while sitting in the car, you guys could do this on a workbench just nicely. And again, nice engagement. So same process, make sure the wire is not there. It is around, so that way this hooks into the steering wheel. That's what I had to look for. And then you're going to feed the wire through this hole first. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. This one was a lot easier than the other side. Then, without looking, let's see if I could do it since I know the wire's not in the way. You're gonna get one end in to that little groove and then pop that in place. So it's still reusing the OEM shift button, and what it's doing is it is giving you greater leverage or area to grab the paddle shifters. Oh yeah. Beautiful. And then we're gonna go ahead and slice that in, slice that in. Now that everything's plugged in, you actually can test the vehicle, which I like to do. So I'm gonna turn it on, let everything go. We got air conditioning, let's lower that down a little bit. I'm gonna put it into drive and into sport mode. So if I push down, yes, I have the indicator of 1. If I pull up 2, 3, okay, they're working like they're supposed to be. So we're gonna turn the vehicle off, and now we're going to reinstall these in the reverse process. So we're just going to be pushing all our pieces that we pried out right back in the same sequence. And you wanna make sure, this one does need a little bit more force because, as you can see, they're barbed. So make sure of that, and make sure you get the cable in this routing, because you don't want to squish or pinch your cable. And try not to push on the buttons either. That's another thing I try to do, is push on the housing. All right, that is in. We've got both sides. Now we're gonna do top to bottom, or narrow to wide. You do have to line it up. Okay. Push in, nice and even. And do the top again. There we go. Radio, did not want you on. And now, the easiest part, which is putting the horn back in. You just line her up into these 2 holes. Make sure, again, no wires are pinching. And then you're just gonna give her a nice good, and she's in. And just like that, we have our KT4 shifters installed. And I actually really like the view of this setup versus these little guys, which, yeah, they have the little grips in the back, but the look and the feel from this perspective really makes this look like a sports car. And I'm gonna bring the camera over so you guys can see. So from my perspective, you can really see wherever your hands are at. Even if you're grabbing up here, you can still pull the shifter just like so. Or if you're down here, you push in your buttons, you still have good access to that. I usually tend to keep my hands here or slightly up, so that's perfect. I can still get 3 fingers on there. My index finger is a little hanging off, but that's okay for a quick shift. And they're actually really, there's less throw, it feels like, than the OEM setup, for them sticking out more, but I really like that. We'll see how they work on track and on road, and that is how you install the KT4 paddle shifters.